What does the frog say?
No. Today, we're gonna check the video of the background NPC. Let's go.
I've come to the realization that the most thirsted over female character in Western
Lara Croft?
gaming right now is a bug. Okay, I am
What?
kind of joking, but not really. This past week, I was doing some late night scrolling and I somehow ended up on Silksong TikTok. And listen, I knew this was a popular game, but the sheer amount of content is crazy. There's
Of course, it's beautiful. It looks better than an old school platform game, but at the same time, it has the same flavor. It's really beautiful game.
fan animations, gorgeous art, elaborate cosplays, including what I am personally dubbing Hot Hornet, and I just kept scrolling, and it hit me. I have seen more celebration of Hornet over the last week than I have.
Actually, the one on the right is the coolest one, the most realistic, even though she doesn't have
for any recent Western AAA female character in months. And we are talking about characters backed by massive budgets, huge studios, marketing campaigns.
That game is really cool.
Here I am watching all of this bug love, and then I hop over to X to just see people having the same old argument about whether or not gamers even like female characters. And
of course, they like female character. They just don't like gamers just don't like a feminist agenda being pushed toward them. But of course, gamer like female character. They would even be okay with like ugly character if it wasn't just if there wasn't an agenda behind, everybody would be cool with it.
Again, the proof isn't in these people's arguments at all. It is in what fans are actually doing, what they are organically creating, what they are celebrating, where they are spending their time and money.
Just for the fans.
Between the response to this indie bug versus these modern female protagonists, that kind of tells us everything that we need to know. If an indie studio of 3 people can figure this out with a fraction of the resources, why do studios...
Yeah, but that's the point as well. The fact that they have a fraction of the resources also make it so management on top of them, they're N+1, N+2, N+3. These people most likely don't even exist. Like, they actually do what they want with their game.
Studios with hundreds of millions of dollars keep getting their female characters so wrong. 6 months ago, this was the flagship topic that I began my YouTube journey with, and during that time,
go check this video if you haven't seen it.
I have learned new things and there has been developments in the industry, but to give a quick recap, for years now, it seems like there is a blueprint that has been passed around to some of these Western AAA studios, and once you see the pattern,
I really like this game.
Can't really unsee it. Female characters that are typically...
Why? To be fair, the one on the right, she's okay. Like, she doesn't look good, but she's okay. The one on the left, it's like, oh, it's a female Chad. Like, what's the point?
Emotionally guarded. They have more mass.
It's not what's the point. It's more like, what do you expect? Do you really expect people to have her as a main character, the one on the left, and like be okay with it? She's ugly. We all have beauty standards. We know what ugly is. Why would you play a character that is ugly? They're gonna learn through their wallets. They're gonna lose money until they change.
Masculine traits, a desaturated color palette, underlying frustration, sarcasm, or bitterness, a difficult past that explains why she can't show much warmth or any softer characteristics. And when these personality traits become a checklist, when these female characters...
Exactly, that's the problem. It becomes a checklist, like all this pure drama, and it's not just female character in video game. It's also male character, obviously. Like there have been like a dramatization of stories in video game. Like it's way more drama. Like everybody's like has a terrible past and they go through all these feelings throughout the game, and it's like, in the end, that's why indie games are also popping off. Not every type of indie games is popping off, but the ones that are just relaxed emotionally works. Like, look at District 1 or look at Megabonk right now. The story is fun. In Megabonk, there's not even a story. There's just a gameplay, and the gameplay is working. And that's what many people want at the moment. Of course, not just that, but that is definitely what people want. Like, you don't want drama and huge things and huge feelings and tears all the time. It's like, come on. People want to relax after the day of work. That's it, you know? It's not that deep.
Female characters all start to follow the same pattern, it has a ripple effect. Let me show you what I mean. Quick thing before we continue, I am so excited to say that today's first ever video partner is NordVPN, and I actually have a confession about my Steam library that is mildly
Good for her.
terrifying. Okay, so my Steam library is worth way more
I know she hasn't started too long ago, and she already has a sponsor. Really good for her.
than I would like to
I hope
admit.
it works.
A decade of collecting, sales, bundles, I am essentially a digital hoarder, and here is the embarrassing part. Truly living up to my NPC name, I used to use the same passwords for everything. Steam, Epic, random forums from 2015, which is wild.
Password generator online, guys.
Because if only one of those sites got hacked, which happens all the time, my passwords could have been served up on a silver platter and my games could have been gone overnight. A very scary thought. That's where NordVPN comes in. Their VPN encrypts my connection and hides my IP, but the feature I really love is Dark Web Monitor because it scans sites and alerts you if your credentials show up the moment something is breached, so I can change something
I've never heard of
immediately.
that.
One click and you are protected. If you would like to check it out, I have got an exclusive creator deal at nordvpn.com/thebackgroundnpc. That's really cool to say. When you grab a 2-year plan through my link, you can get 4 extra months on top. Plus, they are offering a 30-day money-back guarantee to try it.
Go check that.
Link is nordvpn.com/thebackgroundnpc in the description below. All right, back to the video. We've talked about a few of these before, but Ghost of Yote. I know we're still waiting to see how this game
Drama.
even just setting aside the controversy.
I mean, to be fair, for a Ronin samurai type of story, of course there's gonna be drama. Of course there's gonna be drama. That's the genre.
For a second. At its core, it is still a story about an angry woman on a revenge quest, which Sony has never done that before, right? And hey, we also could talk about Sony's pesky habit of replacing male-led franchises with female characters, but somehow we never see that behavior happening in reverse. I mean, could you imagine them replacing Aloy with Alan? That
Replacing Lara Croft?
is never gonna happen, and that is probably a whole
That'll be
other
so
video.
dumb.
Moving on to The Last of Us Part 2, a game that divided its fan base and introduced us to Abby.
So I've never played The Last of Us Part 2. I played the Part 1 and I really loved it because at the time there were not many games with like real cinematic story and like a lot of like feelings where you really get implied in the you get in tune with your characters. And playing Ellie at the time as the young daughter that was super fragile and vulnerable and you could feel it through the gameplay was one of the best experience I had. So that was years ago, but that was so good. It really made sense to then when you play Joel, you had this feeling, this fatherly, very fatherly feeling of like, I want to protect Ellie. Like I need to protect her. I need to destroy anyone who comes in our path because like I need to protect my daughter. That was the feeling. And that was really beautiful. Like to me, that was really beautiful. That's why you can ask anyone who played the game. Very last scene of the game, you're in the hospital. They have captured Ellie to get like if I remember, like they need like she's gonna die because they're gonna take something from her blood and make an antidote against the virus that makes like those like big mushroom zombies. Anyone who played that game when they entered that room and they saw the doctors and they saw Ellie on the table, they massacred everybody. No doctor is weaponized. No one has a weapon. Except you. But you're still gonna just massacre everybody because they almost did something bad to her. That's how good he was.
The physical embodiment of the strong female lead, a character that Neil Druckmann defended the design of so fiercely that when he cast her in the live action, was sure to go with a cute, petite, and small framed actress. Yikes. Speaking of buff ladies, Jen Kirkin and Zendara from Immortals of Avium. Now, these were two of the more prominent female characters in this game, with Zendara in particular pretty much following this blueprint to a T. The game cost over $125 million to make. Pretty much.
Honestly, I don't have a problem with like bulky women in video game and like not applying to all the beauty standards, but it's more about, first of all, if you're trying to make them the main characters, your game is most likely gonna fail. That's just how it is. That's a fact. Check the statistics. That's how it is. But as another character in the game that is helping you or against you, that can be really cool. Like, no one has a problem with that. Again, people have problem when they feel that an agenda is being pushed upon them through this character. The character themselves are most of the time okay as long as they're not the main
pretty much
characters.
Following this blueprint to a T. The game cost over $125 million to make and was such a huge miss that EA had to lay off nearly half the studio. Of course, Forspoken and Star Wars Outlaws. Both female leads followed this template to a certain degree. Both lost their companies millions of dollars. Sarah Morgan was a main companion in Starfield. She was sometimes perceived as arrogant, judgmental, or preachy, and
I don't like her face.
Overall, again, the characters in this
she
game
looks pretty. I haven't even played the game. I look at her face and I don't like her. Why?
Looked a bit freaky. Or Perfect Dark. The reboot was canceled this year after 7 years.
Why? Just why? Why would you make a character that ugly, and why this haircut? Like, what's the point? We all know what this haircut means. Why would you put a character like that in your game? Like, that's not cool.
Years of development with,
of course, you're gonna lose money.
Pretty much nothing to show for it. And I am genuinely curious how they could go from the original character to what it was that we were seeing here. She kind of looks like she's about to start a neighborhood watch Facebook group and then just ban me from it. The point is, you start to recognize the blueprint each and every time. And sure, some of these games definitely had better gameplay and stories than others, which we will never know for Perfect Dark. RIP. But pattern recognition is still very much a thing. And so many of these studios forget that when you are focused on a more narrative approach, you also have to have a character that is going to resonate with your audience. So where is the widespread love for these female characters? All the cosplayers? Where is all the fan art or the edits? And
the cosplayer market is very simple. If it's hot, the cosplayers are gonna take it. If it's ugly, they're not gonna take it, because most of those cosplayers are on Instagram and make money through their sponsor, etc., 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 and they need to look hot on the pictures. So they're gonna only pick hot characters. You make an ugly character, no cosplayer is gonna follow you. End of the story.
And here is the wild part. We can see this disinterest playing out in real time with games that are not even out yet, because once people recognize this pattern and the fact that it's not a good one, the effects hit before a game is even released. You probably already knew this one was coming, but Intergalactic, and our favorite bald protagonist. Neil Druckmann and Naughty Dog have made...
So, maybe that's a hot take, but I cannot say that I dislike this character. So I've heard the actress talking nonsense, etc., etc., etc. But the character itself, okay, she's like a bulky, bold lesbian. That's what she looks like. And she's out there and she's gonna like beat the bad guys, and you can feel the aggressivity just looking at her character. Honestly, I'm pretty sure that if this video game with the graphics of FF10 in like 2005, if that game had been released at that time, people would actually have enjoyed it, because it wouldn't have been in the middle of this like culture war and like hardcore feminism and all these things. I'm sure that the game itself could be really cool.
have made several statements
That's just my point of view.
as of late, reminding us all that this game exists and reminding me that everything I have learned about it has been against my will. But they are still full steam ahead, probably a 2027 release. But who can forget when they announced this game at the 2024 Game Awards and immediately had to turn the comments off? To this day, we have still only seen that one trailer with the
That's bad.
insane like to dislike ratio. Or Fable, the protagonist for
If you've played the first Fable, that was one of the best game of the Xbox One at the time. It was so good. It's so sad that they managed to like destroy the license like that. Just with that face. Why? Again, why? I mean, we all know why. Because people in those big companies are trying to push things. It's so boring. It's so redundant.
protagonist reveal got, we will call it disappointment. They took a cave-esque approach where they had this beautiful actress and toned her down to be
Look at the picture on the left. Okay, that's not my style of women. But look at the picture on the left and look at her face on the right. Like that's a dude. Like on the right, she looks like a dude. Why? You're killing it.
less offensive, I
Anyway.
guess. The game got delayed and it has pretty much been crickets ever since. People are nervous before the game even releases at this point because they have been burned so many times, which means for studios who do actually get this right, not only do
Yep.
they get to shine all the brighter, but it makes this pattern so much more
Definitely.
obvious. Looking at the flip side of things, this past year we were also introduced to Claire
So
Obscure, which was
simple,
a
the
fantastic
simplicity of
game
it
with a
all.
majority female cast. Luna,
I'm French.
Mael, and CL. Now, Sandfall had
And that's what this game was beautiful. It was not overly tragic, even though it takes place in a post-apocalyptic world. And the characters, even if obviously they have very deep feeling, because in the end, if they don't manage to, in their mind at the time, kill the paintress, everybody they love is going to die. But you also have the mentality, whether it's the women in the game or whether it's the men in the game, to go further, to not sink in their own feelings and just keep going because you don't have a choice. Like during their stories, they didn't have a choice. You have to keep going. And it's just beautiful to see that, like, that's how you actually see the strength of women. In that case, in video game, but it's like, even though the feelings are really harsh, can be really difficult, at the same time, they keep going. And that's beautiful. That's how you write a strong female character. And they look good.
I had the option to follow the Western AAA girl boss pattern or just
Yep. Girl boss. Girl boss. The idea of girl boss always made me laugh because it's like, basically, you take a dude, you make it an asshole, and now you make it a woman. You're just an asshole. That's it. That's your revolution. That's peak feminism. Girl boss. Girl boss. Look, I'm an asshole. I have the right to be an asshole, even though I'm a woman too. Like, what? Anyway.
not do that. And what happened? Universal acclaim,
bad.
5 million copies sold, Game of the Year contender. They had instant fan art, cosplayers going wild, and just an overwhelmingly positive reception. So much so that the French president
Yes.
even congratulated them. Or Split Fiction, with Mio and Zoe, two super cute
I haven't
female
played
leads
that one.
with completely different personalities.
I've heard it was kind of very, very cringe at moments, but the gameplay itself has potential, has a strong potential. I hope they make a next one, and I hope the story becomes actually good.
Personalities that could be a bit quirky at times, but
Yeah.
they ended up balancing each other out pretty well. Hazelight
I've actually seen a guy streaming it from like A to Z, so that's
didn't just slap the full blueprint on both of them, but they made them distinct and fun to play. And for me, it actually was.
Yeah, they were like a bit too caricatural. Like the two of them were like super stereotype of themselves. I would say it like that. But again, like the gameplay at least was very fun, and people played it for that
Wasn't
reason.
quite as good as It Takes Two, but it was still a really solid game. Or Bai from Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, a game from a brand new Chinese developer, and I can promise you that any legitimate complaints you might have heard had nothing to do with the gorgeous female lead, who is
Yep,
incredibly
that's for sure.
graceful, elegant, and deadly. Now, you might be saying, well, NPC, but those games are out, so it is easy to praise the response to those characters. And that is true.
Silk
But
Song is so
when you
good.
are looking at other upcoming games with female leads, Tides of Annihilation, Resident Evil 9, which we are already seeing cosplays for, The Witcher 4, especially since they may or
I'm sorry, maybe another hot take, but is that Siri on the right? No.
may not have updated series design, we do see just more natural organic hype. And that difference isn't random.
Okay.
Over the last few months, I have been getting messages here and there from people in the industry, and
Okay.
I recently talked with someone who has worked in Western AAA for over 15 years as a 3D artist. I cannot share their name since they are still actively working. It is a trust me bro situation. I
As a what?
recently
As an artist?
talked with
As
someone who has worked in Western AAA for over 15 years as a 3D artist. I cannot
3D
share their
artist.
name since they are still actively working. It is a trust me bro situation. I recognize that, but
So not
they
the
told
character
me
design,
about
but the
being
3D
in these
artist.
rooms for years, hearing feedback
Okay.
during female character development in particular, and that there are devs out there who feel a bit like hostages when it comes to what ideas and feedback that they are allowed to share without fear of being reported to HR or higher ups if it goes somewhat against the grain. For female characters in
That's
particular, this
crazy.
person was often given direction like, we are not trying to sexualize women. Reduce the hip width, make the chest smaller.
Why? Why are you trying not to sexualize women? Like, it's not about over-sexualizing women. It's just about accepting that men and women are animal, and we have sexual attributes. So just deal with it. Like, just deal with it. You don't have to reduce that. Like, come on.
That is reading too feminine, pull back. Specifically receiving
Too
direction that
feminine.
ultimately
Too
creates
feminine. Too feminine. That's a message. And that's not a good one. Again, that's not a good one. You cannot push back against women who are very feminine. Good for them. I thought that was the point of all of that. Like, if a woman decide to express herself in a very feminine way, good for her. If she decide to show herself as more masculine, good for her. But desexualizing character is nothing but an agenda that no one will ever accept, because whether it's man or woman, everybody likes hot women. That's life.
creates more androgynous looking characters, and for the most part isn't coming from narrative
Why?
reasons. Although it does kind of go hand in hand with that blueprint I mentioned earlier.
More androgynous?
No, it is being done to avoid offending anyone, whether
I
that's
wonder
new
who these
female
game
players
developers
they
are.
desperately
Yep.
want buying their games, or mostly the people working on the game itself. This gap that we're seeing, many times it is the result of very intentional design choices. Here's what kind of blows my mind about all of this though, every single time this argument is brought up. For decades, we have loved our female characters. Lara Croft was a cultural icon, Samus was revolutionary.
Exactly. Of course, Lara Croft. Of course, Samus. And Bayonetta, not really, but hey. Everybody loved Samus. No one knew. I mean, when I was a kid, there was no internet and everything. No one knew that Samus was a woman at the beginning, and then people saw that she was a woman and everybody was happy about it. Everybody thought she was a man. I repeat, everybody thought that she was a man until people understand that no, behind this giant armor is a woman. No one disliked it. Like, it's easy. It's so easy to do. And Lara Croft, obviously, from the beginning. I mean, you know the story, right? They made her breasts were like smaller, and apparently a dev, out of a mistake, that's kind of like the myth around it, just enlarged completely her breast, and now everybody loves her. But Lara Croft is iconic, and if you look at it that way, you can also see that in Lara Croft games, in Tomb Raiders, she's not complaining, she's not trying to push an agenda, she's just a really cool female version of Indiana Jones. That's
was
it.
revolutionary. Bayonetta was celebrated. Tifa, Jill, Zelda, all beloved, commercially
Tifa!
successful, culturally significant. So,
Yep.
what changed? Because it wasn't the audience. Think about male protagonists. Kratos is nothing like Edward Kenway. Leon is
Yep.
completely different from Arthur Morgan. Cloud, Geralt, Jin, all very distinct. And I will
all
argue
different. And on that level, if you look at many JRPG, the male characters are very feminine. Is anyone complaining about that? No. You can have characters that are masculine, women who are masculine in JRPG, who are very like boyish. No one complains. Why? No agenda is being pushed. That's it. It's very simple. People just want to come home after a day of work and relax playing video game. They don't want politics. It's an escape. And it feels good. It feels good for what it is.
all attractive. Female characters used to have that exact same variety. Elena from Uncharted was funny and nurturing. 2B was graceful and deadly. Ellie from
Yep.
The Last of Us series. She falls more into the strong female lead category, but she is such a compelling and well-designed
Again, she was not. In the first one, she was not. She was just vulnerable. She was strong emotionally, at the same time terrified, but had to stay strong. And she was vulnerable, which makes sense for a little girl,
well-designed
obviously.
character that she is the exception that proves the rule. Even now, I will praise these characters again. Shadowheart, Karlach, Bazel, all from Baldur's Gate 3,
Of course.
have depth, warmth, and complexity. 15 million copies sold. Stellar Blades Eve, gorgeous, lethal, and the depth and complexity
If I just gotta say, Baldur's Gate 3 is how much you can push the woke agenda in a video game. That's the peak. Like, if you're on that side of the political spectrum and you can make video games, Baldur's Gate 3 should be your example. Why? Because it's not forcing an agenda. You can create a trans character if you feel like it. Like, that's not a problem in Baldur's Gate 3. Many different themes are being brought. You can have a gay and lesbian relationship in the game, but if you don't want to, you just don't. Like, that's the whole point of it. That's why everybody from every side of the political spectrum enjoyed Baldur's Gate 3. And that's really the difference between Baldur's Gate 3 and Dragon Age the Vilgard, obviously, in which you were forced to follow things that most people don't like. If Dragon Age the Vilgard has option to just tell people that you don't like in-game to fuck off, people would have liked it, you know? If they could just say, the other stupid character who was making the drama about, oh, actually, I'm trans, and okay, cool. I don't care, and beyond that, I don't like your attitude as a person. It's not even about you being trans. Like, no one liked this character as a person. She was just a Karen. That's all she was in Dragon Age. So again, just don't force people to accept your thing. That's it. Very simple.
and complexity. 15 million copies sold. Stellar Blade's
Of course.
gorgeous, lethal, and the devs stood their ground on her design. Over 3 million copies sold, and
Of course.
Halloween is upon us, so I have to mention, of course, Resident Evil Village, which sold over 10 million copies,
Everybody knows
making it the
Lady
fastest-selling
Dimitrescu.
title in the entire series to reach this milestone. That is the game that also featured Lady D and her daughters heavily in the marketing, so no, I do not think that is just a coincidence. The point is, this argument is silly, because we already have tons of examples of beloved female characters that are all unique, compelling,
Yep.
hot, and you know who loves these characters enough to dress up like them year after year? Women. Aerith's actually one of my favorite female characters.
I've never met in my life a woman who doesn't like the appearance of hot women. Maybe sometimes they can be scared about it if they don't feel confident, etc., etc. But if you look at a movie with a woman like your friend and everything, of course they love hot women. Men and women love, like, put it however you want, hot women. Everybody like to look at hot women.
Characters. She is such a girly girl and exists in a world that is industrial, dying, and cold. Everything around her is harsh and hopeless, and she just shows up in a beautiful pink dress and flowers, literally radiating warmth. She chooses kindness when cruelty would be easier, or to stay soft when the world demands everyone become hard. And those qualities
Yep.
are not a weakness that she has to overcome. They
It's
are
a
her
strength.
strengths, and it is what
Yep.
makes her presence so unique and refreshing in that world.
Yep.
Now, of course, I am not saying that all female characters need to be like Aerith, but always stripping away those types of traits not only makes them boring and unappealing, it sends a message.
In a sense, it's not just the femininity. It's like everybody is like that, you know, like everybody has feelings. But we're coming back to that image of the girl boss who doesn't have feelings somehow, except being strong in every case and like stepping on everybody else. Again, you didn't make a girl boss, you just made an asshole.
Message that warmth is weakness, compassion is naive, and the desire for beauty is inherently wrong. You have
And that's why Expedition 33 worked
to
so
be
well.
harder, bitter, angry, more masculine to be considered valuable, but by stripping femininity away, you are not making strong female characters. You
Yep.
are just making bad male characters with female bodies.
Exactly. They just change the Kara design and call it a day.
Pattern's obvious, right? Strip away uniqueness, femininity, beauty, follow the template. Mixed reception at best. Let women actually be aspirational, beautiful, distinct. Success. This makes me think of
Yep.
an article that I saw recently that read, after years of progress on gender, the male gaze is back. So dumb. It's so ominous, and they announced it like Sauron just returned or something.
Okay, just quickly. Yes. First of all, yes. The male gaze is back. Good. Second, the female gaze is back. And the feminist gaze is slowly leaving. That's the reality of it. The female gaze is back too, again, because female women like hot women, and men like hot women. And men and women like hot men. And we see that in video games, and men like men who are like strong. Basically, they want to see men in a video game, when it comes to male character, they want to play or some type of father figure, or they want to play like a friend, or like kind of a crazy friend who can do like some crazy stuff, or a bad boy. Like, it's quite simple.
So dumb. It's so ominous, and they announced it like Sauron just returned or something. Well, yes, of course. Men like attractive women. Women like attractive women. That is not a scandal that needs fixing. That is just being human. And the whole male gaze critique falls apart pretty quickly when women are also the ones participating in the celebration, when we are the ones making the fan art, doing the cosplays, loving and hyping up all of these characters. Nobody is saying that every female character needs to be a supermodel. Not at all. But there is a huge difference between just natural variety and purposefully making your characters unattractive as a design philosophy. Creating an appealing and attractive female character is not a crime, so why do these studios keep acting like it is? Because they are creating for an audience that does not exist.
Doesn't exist.
They will point to surveys
Of course.
showing women make up almost half of gamers now, and for some reason they have convinced themselves that means creating even more female characters that are sure
can
not to
believe that.
offend. But here is the thing, even if we take that data at face value, it is super misleading. A survey came
ridiculous.
out stating that women make up 48% of all gamers, but you are looking at all gamers.
No. I mean, maybe, but what I see when I see the statistic is simply that they're not telling the kind of game that people are playing. Like, if you're on your phone and you're playing Tetris once a week, then you're gonna enter their statistic? How ridiculous is that? Like, many women play mobile game here and there throughout the week. But when it comes to like console or PC, that's more men. That's just how it is. That's way more men. So trying to make like a AAA on PC while appealing to women, it's not gonna work. I kind of know why they're trying to do that, because if they manage to bring a lot of women in the West, so who have money to play video games, the share of the market will simply grow. That they will create more consumers. Like, I can understand their business strategy. They're just doing it wrong.
Gamers across all platforms and genres, including people who claim that they play games at least 1 hour a week. Most of the women in my family play Wordle on their phones, so technically they are all
Yes,
gamers,
exactly.
according to the survey.
Exactly.
Win for me. But obviously, that is not the case.
I'm saying that my mother is playing mobile games. Like, she's not a gamer. Come on.
When I was seriously crashing out last summer after dying to promised consort Radon for the 176th time, I wish that I were joking. Only 1 out of 9 of them was the same kind of gamer as me and was actually able to sit me down and give me respec advice. That is the type of difference we are talking about here.
Good.
Any AAA studio that is seriously using this data in an effort to force in or justify dumb decisions is like a company using coffee shop customer data to design a sports bar. And the funny thing is, we never see this behavior happening in the other direction. I mentioned something
Yep.
similar in my Disney video, but when is the last time you saw a studio say, you know what our cozy farming game needs? Executions, or a dating sim where instead of choosing a boyfriend, you choose which faction to pledge allegiance to in the coming war. Never, because that would be insane. But somehow it is not insane to do this in reverse. And that is what really frustrates me about all of this,
Exactly.
because this
Sinead.
conversation has become about men versus women in gaming,
Yep.
but it never should have been.
Unfortunately, no. It has become a conversation again. Men and women against hardcore feminists. Like, that's the reality of it. And hardcore feminists pretending that they speak for all women.
Never should have been that. There should have
But it's changing. The
always
world
been
is
a
healing.
balance. Nobody had to lose for the other to win, and as someone who has a deep love and appreciation for our female characters, who has been inspired by them, motivated by them, I am tired of seeing the same thing play out over and over. Western AAA games with an uninspired female lead underperform, or there is just
That's what's so sad about all of that, is that in the end, if I have to look at my own life, there are so many older women that inspired me because simply they had the right values at the right place. Like, they were fair, they were just, they were strong even in front of adversity. Like, those are qualities that humans should have. Like, as a human, that's what you should cultivate within you. It's not. But because of all of this, like, culture, gender war, some men will, like, go away from really great examples. So it's, again, another example of hardcore feminists working against themselves. by creating this type of narrative which is like just pushing men away, and at the same time, while they're pushing men away, being like, you're not close, you don't accept what we say, and at the same time pushing you away while telling you that you don't want to come close. So dumb.
Just zero excitement surrounding them, and instead of any reflection, it turns into accusations. The audience is toxic, they can't handle strong women, they need to evolve. But that is not what is happening here. These
Nope.
studios continue to build games for audiences who are not showing up, designing a character for a demographic that, at large, is not playing their $70 game. So who are you making these for? Where are the women flocking to cosplay Atsu? Where are the people championing these characters?
Nowhere.
They're not here. But you know where they actually are? They are cosplaying Hornet. They are buying Claire Obscure. They are replaying Final Fantasy VII for the 100th time, and they are appreciating fan art of characters you dismissed as problematic. Team Cherry created a compelling female lead and one heck of a sequel. Hornet is elegant, has a memorable silhouette with that flowing red cloak. She moves with grace and precision and has one of the cutest voices I have ever heard. And she's a bug. An actual insect is showing Western AAA how it is done in more ways than one, and they didn't have to strip away her femininity to do it. They just designed her with intention and trusted that people would love her. She is getting more organic love than productions that cost multi-millions. So, to you studios out there, we want to love your characters. We do. And we will show up for games with great female characters. We always have. Just make them compelling, beautiful, and complex. Let them be warm and strong, soft and deadly.
Just let them be real. The image of a girl boss is a lie, is by essence, by definition, a lie. It's just someone who could not exist in real life. A person like who would be like a girl boss you have in video games or in movies would break down mentally or just become psychopathic after a few years because no one can live like that. People have feelings. Men have feelings and women have feelings. Girl boss don't have feelings.
Kind and capable, but to do this, you have to stop treating any trace of femininity and beauty like design flaws that need correcting, and you have to stop following this blueprint that keeps failing. It is time to stop building characters for an audience that does not exist and start building for us, the people who are actually here, waiting and ready to love your characters. Because right now, in the big 2-5, the studios that show up for us are seeing massive wins, and that is something our industry desperately needs.
I'm so happy that things are changing.
If you made it to the end, thank you so much for being here. This one was kind of an ode to the video that started it all, and honestly, I do think that we are going to see a shift over the next couple of years with this.
The shift has already happened. It has already happened. It's the beginning of a new era.
The pattern is too obvious now, and the same thing goes for Hollywood too. Studios that create compelling, beautiful female characters will win. Studios that follow the girl boss blueprint will not. We just have to keep supporting the games that get it right, keep celebrating the characters that we love, and eventually they will have no choice but to listen to us. So thanks again for...
Slowly, people will simply understand that people who make drama online are nothing but that. They're just people making drama online, like it doesn't matter that much. And in the end, if your game sale, then it sale. That's it. And if people are criticizing it online, no one cares.
Again for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.
I really like her video, so please go check her channel. I just put like a link to her channel, and yeah, please go have a look at it. Subscribe to her channel because that's really cool. Bye.